Hi, this is Kevin, and this is Test Method Setup and Teardown on the test path. As we create our test scripts, we're going to find that there are times when there's common code between test methods. In other words, there's code that we want to execute for every one of our test methods, both in terms of setting things up at the beginning as well as finalizing the execution of the test method at the end. So there are 4 attributes that allow us to control this behavior for the test framework. So let's take a look at some simple code that demonstrates that. Now here you see the demo code for this particular video lecture. And we'll open up the unit test 1 source code. And we see in this test class we have a test method. And what it's going to do is it's going to write out its name to the console window, and it's also going to write out its name to a file. We'll see why we need to do that in just a bit. Here, by the way, is the stream writer that those results will be written to. We also have a second test method, and it does exactly the same thing, but of course with its own name. So let's say that for each time one of these 2 test methods runs, there's some code that needs to be executed, and in fact it's the same for both test method 1 and test method 2. What we can do is to create a new method and decorate it with the test initialize attribute, and so that will run before each of the test methods. And conversely, there's a test cleanup attribute which you associate with methods that run after each of the test methods. And then further, there is a class initialize and a class cleanup. And so this is going to run once for each test run. So we'll get the class initialize method running, and then the test initialize method, and then an individual method, followed by test cleanup, followed again by another test initialize, and then our second test method, and then test cleanup after that, and then finally class cleanup will be run once at the end. Now you'll note that in each of these methods I've done a console write line as well as a results write line. So results goes out to a text file. In the class cleanup method I do have a write, but you'll see that you won't see that in the results, hence adding it to the file, because by the time class final runs there's no console to write to. So if you do want some output, you have to find some other way to do it. So in this case I've written it out to that text file. So let's go ahead and run this, and as we look at the results of test method, of course our output is in a separate file, and there we see class init, because this is the first text method that was run for this particular execution on the test framework. And then test init, followed by the test method itself, and then test final. And then if we look at the output for test method 2, we'll see that there we see test init, followed by the test method, and then test final. And once again we see that we don't see output here from the class cleanup method, because by the time it's run there is no console. So let's open that text file that was created, and we see it here, and as expected, class init, test method, test final, test init, test method 2, test final, class final. And that's test method setup and teardown on the test path. Thanks for watching.